She walked into that ballroom like she didn't belong there because honestly, she didn't. Claire Matthews was a single mom from a two-bedroom walk-up in Queens, and somehow she'd ended up with a ticket to the most expensive charity gala in Manhattan. Her boss had gotten sick and shoved the invitation into her hands. So there she was in a thrift store emerald dress she'd hemmed herself, clutching her purse like it was armor, trying to blend in under chandeliers that probably cost more than her yearly salary. She just wanted to sit quietly, sip one glass of champagne, and slip out. But the ticket in her hand was smudged, looked like 71 instead of 17. So Claire walked straight to the most important table in the entire ballroom, sat down, and breathed for the first time all night. She had no idea whose chair she'd taken, until a hush fell over the room and a man's shadow crossed her plate. "I believe you're in my seat." She looked up, and there he was. Marcus Hale. 30-something billionaire, the tech genius splashed across every magazine cover. His tuxedo was sharper than glass, his voice deep enough to stop conversations. Claire fumbled, nearly spilled her champagne, stammering apologies. She tried to flee, but when her chair wobbled, Marcus steadied it with one hand, his fingers brushing hers. And instead of dismissing her, his expression softened. "What's your name?" he asked, low enough that only she heard. That was the moment the entire room leaned in, waiting for him to crush her. Instead, he pulled out the chair across from her. "Sit. I want to hear about your work." Gasps rippled around them. Marcus Hale never shared his private table. Never. For the rest of the night, he asked her about the nonprofit where she was just an assistant. He actually listened. And across the room, a woman with ice blue eyes and a perfect smile was watching like a hawk. Veronica Kane, the daughter of Marcus's biggest rival, had been circling him for months. When she saw him laugh at something Claire said, her nails dug into her palm. "Find out everything about her," she whispered. Claire slipped out early when the babysitter called. It was storming outside. Marcus insisted on sending his driver, pressed a card with his private number into her hand. "Call me tomorrow," he said, rain dripping off his umbrella. She clutched it all the way home, not knowing if she was more scared or flattered. The next day, her boss nearly fainted when Claire admitted she'd met Marcus Hale. "You have to call him," her boss insisted. Claire did, awkward and nervous. He invited her to lunch at a high-end restaurant. What she expected was business talk. What she got was Marcus asking about her daughter, about her life. When she mentioned her 6-year-old, his expression shifted, softened in a way that startled her. Later that week, he invited her and her little girl Sophie to dinner at a diner instead of some exclusive club. He slid into the booth in jeans, leaned down to eye level with Sophie. "So you're the famous Sophie? Your mom told me about you." Sophie squinted at him, dead serious. "You're really tall." Marcus laughed. Really laughed, and promised shoulder rides if she ate all her dinner. That night over milkshakes, Marcus laid out his proposal fund. Claire's nonprofit, triple what they'd hoped for 3 years, plus start a coding program for kids. And then came the shocker: he wanted her to run it. Claire blinked. "But I'm just an assistant." Marcus's eyes locked on hers. "You've got a master's in education and 5 years of teaching experience. Don't sell yourself short." She froze. "How do you know that?" He didn't flinch. "The same way you Googled me. Due diligence." It should have scared her. Instead, it lit something she'd buried for years, the possibility that maybe she was more than the safe little box she'd shoved herself into. But the storm was coming. Veronica. She dug into Claire's past, unearthing a restraining order Claire had filed against her ex. Painful, private, sealed records now in the hands of a woman who wanted Marcus all to herself. Marcus called Claire into his glass and steel office. "She's threatening to smear you, to drag your name through the mud. But I won't let her." Claire's voice cracked. "Why? We barely know each other." His answer was quiet but steady. "The night you sat at my table. It was my sister's birthday. She passed years ago. I almost didn't go that night. And then you showed up, real, unpolished, honest. You reminded me what matters. And when you talked about Sophie, I saw a second chance." Before she could respond, the office doors slammed open. Veronica strutted in all venom and perfume. "So it's true. You're wasting your time on this nobody." Marcus stepped in front of Claire. "Veronica, leave. Now." She sneered, eyes on Claire. "He'll get bored of playing daddy to your brat." Men like him don't do family life. That's enough. His voice cracked like thunder. Security rushed in. Veronica straightened, smirked, and hissed as she left. You'll regret this. Both of you. Claire trembled, but Marcus turned back to her. The job is yours. No strings attached. She looked him dead in the eye. And what if I want strings? Just then her phone rang. Sophie's school. She'd fallen, hit her head. Claire panicked, but Marcus grabbed his keys. I'll drive. He raced through the rain, stayed at the hospital, bought Sophie a stuffed bear she named Captain Bumps. Later, he ended up in Claire's cramped kitchen, rolling up his sleeves, ordering takeout. He fit there like he'd always belonged. That night, Claire finally told him everything, the ex who'd threatened her, the custody battles, the fear she'd lived with. He just listened, then took her hand. You've done an amazing job. Don't let anyone tell you different. 6 months later, the nonprofit's new coding program was in full swing, kids flying drones they'd built themselves. Sophie riding Marcus's shoulders, her laughter carrying across the field. He slipped his arm around Claire, handed her a small velvet box. Not a ring, not yet. A silver compass pendant. My sister had one like this. You and Sophie, you're my compass now. You've shown me the way. Claire's eyes blurred. She whispered, I love you. He smiled. I love you both. One step at a time. And as Sophie ran toward them, shouting about her drone, Claire thought back to that night she sat at the wrong table. Some mistakes aren't mistakes at all. They're doors you never knew were waiting for you. But let me throw this back to you. What do you think? Was Marcus right to leverage his power to protect her, or was it overstepping? Do billionaires ever really see women like Claire for who they are, or do they make them projects? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear where you stand. And if you've ever had a moment where one small accident changed everything, share that too. She walked into that ballroom like she didn't belong there because honestly, she didn't. Claire Matthews was a single mom from a 2-bedroom walk-up in Queens, and somehow she'd ended up with a ticket to the most expensive charity gala in Manhattan. Her boss had gotten sick and shoved the invitation into her hands. So there she was in a thrift store emerald dress. She'd hemmed herself, clutching her purse like it was armor, trying to blend in under chandeliers that probably cost more than her yearly salary. She just wanted to sit quietly, sip one glass of champagne, and slip out. But the ticket in her hand was smudged, looked like 71 instead of 17. So Claire walked straight to the most important table in the entire ballroom, sat down, and breathed for the first time all night. She had no idea whose chair she'd taken, until a hush fell over the room and a man's shadow crossed her plate. I believe you're in my seat. She looked up, and there he was. Marcus Hale. 30-something billionaire, the tech genius splashed across every magazine cover. His tuxedo was sharper than glass, his voice deep enough to stop conversations. Claire fumbled,